Hi, it's Matt from Excel Pro PC again, and today I want to give you some ideas and inspiration for your own YouTube videos and talk about how inspiration can also be linked to motivation as well when you're looking for content for your YouTube videos and your cat's not playing ball. So this idea came about because this week, it's Thursday now this week, it's 26th of May, and all of this week I've been sort of struggling for inspiration for doing my YouTube videos. You'll notice that the last 3 of my videos have actually been pretty much all in my email here. So it's from emails that I've received. This is the 3rd one where I've used an email that I've received as the basis for my talk on my YouTube channel. On the company's YouTube channel, should I say. And I received this email from the Marketing Guild, which is a email marketing, a marketing email that I'm signed up for. And this is done by Jonathan J. If you haven't checked out any of Jonathan J's stuff with Digital Lighthouse, he's a marketing expert. Go check it out. He has some really good facts, some really good stuff, free stuff that you can use for your online marketing and stuff like that. But one of these emails, this was quite a few weeks ago that this got sent, 12th of May, and it is 7 ideas that you can use for your email marketing. So while this doesn't exactly relate to YouTube content creation, it can relate to just getting some inspiration. You can use it for some inspiration for when you are actually doing your YouTube videos, just to give you a big push. And if you're really struggling for new videos, for ideas, so number 1 is use your knowledge. So for example, what I do in here, I will show people little hints and tips on for their IT things. I mean, throughout this email, he kind of uses mainly a debt collection company for his examples. But for using my knowledge, my IT knowledge, I could potentially use my pro audio knowledge, and sometimes I'm just using other things. I'm not going to say that now though, because this is probably further on down the list. So he says, quote a little known fact or share an inside secret, like a particular task or reaching a goal. So yeah, it's just about sharing your knowledge, sharing something that you know, a little known fact, maybe about computers, maybe about hairdressing. I don't know what you do. You tell me. But just using your knowledge so that people can benefit from that as well. And number 2 is sharing your wisdom. So sharing a good piece of advice with people. What I did in a previous video is that I told you my advice on dealing with fraudulent transactions, fraudulent emails that we get as small businesses, fraudulent phone calls asking for gear the next day. So yeah, it's just you sharing your wisdom, because all throughout your life, I find that you will pick up little bits. You become more mature. Well, some of us do. You gain these little bits of wisdom on how to deal with situations that you can share with your YouTube audience. And number 3, look into your industry. So my previous video was about LiveDrive and how they've screwed over their resellers, not once but twice, probably even more than that, in what they've been doing and how they've done things. So you can talk about that as a supplier ripped you off. Louis Rossmann talks about suppliers that have ripped him off, and how to and various things like that, and looking at things within your industry. Again, using Louis Rossmann as an example, he talks about things with Apple iPhones. It's not necessarily what he fixes, what he does anymore, because he's mainly on the MacBooks, but he can talk about little other things in the industry, in the sort of IT, the smartphone industry, while still remaining relevant to Apple and what he repairs. So, and that leads us quite nicely on to looking at neighboring industries, number 4. So you don't particularly have to talk about your own industry as a YouTube content creator. As an example here, as an IT expert, you can also talk about telephony. I'm going to be using Louis Rossmann as my example here again. While his main core business is fixing MacBooks, he also does talk about setting up your own IP phones and your own IP system. So again, it demonstrates that you have knowledge about other industries as well, and the industries that kind of mesh into your industry as well. So we ourselves sometimes get asked about IP phones, the digital phones, websites. We don't particularly delve much into websites, but I know enough about websites from producing our own to talk about that quite comfortably. And wow, this is a good one. For number 5, talk about your customers. So it suggests that you share testimonials and case studies. Let's go back to Louis Rossmann. He will talk about his customers, not necessarily in a nice way sometimes. Obviously, he won't name and shame them, but he will relate instances of where a customer relationship has gone wrong, or where a customer relationship has gone right for him, and he will describe that and talk about it on camera for you to maybe learn a lesson about, or just one of those crazy stories where he's had a crazy customer. And believe me, I've had plenty of crazy customers in my time to talk about. I mean, I haven't actually divulged any of the information on this channel so far, but you know what? In the future, maybe I'll have a think about that, and maybe think to what a lesson can be learned from a customer, while not necessarily releasing names or etc. etc. The 6th one that Jonathan writes, that Jonathan says you should think about, is write up your life. So he says, think of your dinner party anecdotes, embarrassing moments. Possibly, if it's interesting and not too embarrassing, maybe you could talk about that. If it's something rude and vulgar, do you want to be talking about that on your business channel? Do you want to be talking about that on your YouTube channel? Is it perhaps a bit too personal maybe for your YouTube channel? If it gets a laugh, that's great. Sometimes sharing things like that, we're all human. We all have those vulgar moments in life where things just seem to, it's just so embarrassing. We're all human. And maybe that's where writing up about your life, talking about your life, let's say, when we're talking about it on camera, maybe that is something that you can say even on your business thing, just so that you come across as more of a human being. Again, on this channel, I'm fairly young into it, as it were. I think we're on about 25 videos at the moment, so I'm not. I haven't felt the need to relay one of those embarrassing stories to you yet. Maybe wait till we build up a bit more of a following. But you know, it's something that we can that I'll think about. Again, these are some things that I will be. I've got it actually on my wall there, just so I can write emails if I'm struggling for ideas. I can look to my little thing there, my little printout of this email, and just so I can generate some more ideas. So yes, thank you, Jonathan James, for this. From Digital Lighthouse. Number 7 is check the world around you. So what is happening in the news, entertainment? He says, what are the big discussions around the water cooler? He obviously lives in a big enough, he obviously works in a big enough office where he has a water cooler where people stand around and chat. So yeah, just talking about things that are in the news, maybe how that affects your industry, maybe how that is affecting the average Joe, the average person, and what, you know, how you think that relates, what's happening in the news, what that relates to you. So, you know, people do like a story. They like people telling you. They like something that they can sort of grasp onto, they can relate to. So yeah, what can you tell them about the story? What's your opinion on the story? You know, how will they relate to your opinion on the story, what's happening in the news or the sport, entertainment, and how will they? How do you relate to it? How do they relate to it? Can you see it from someone else's perspective? So there's all these ideas that you can use for your YouTube video content. So, you know, if you're struggling, these sort of 7 ideas here, I'm pointing to the things going up my wall where it's printed out, but yeah, how can these 7 sort of ideas, there is always something within those 7 ideas that you can talk about, that you can record on your YouTube channel, and let your subscribers decide how they want to view that. Obviously, for more niche channels, maybe some of these ideas aren't going to be relevant. My daughter watches Kinder like surprise egg videos for children. You know what? I'm not gonna. You can probably use your knowledge for something like that. Share your wisdom on surprise toys, surprise egg toys, and look into your industry. But some of those are obviously not going to be applicable to that sort of channel. Or if you do unboxing videos, you know, so that some of that stuff is not going to be particularly relevant. But you know, if you're struggling, if you haven't got any new products in, if there's no surprise eggs to open, to buy or open, you could take one of these ideas and use it and run with it, see how it goes, see what sort of feedback you get. Already, you know, I'm 25 videos in. I see videos that work, where I've got a lot of views, videos that aren't working so well, where I haven't got a lot of views. But yeah, you know, you do start to notice trends, and who knows, even in your niche YouTube video, you might notice that some of these, talking about some of these points here, you know, they might actually help your channel a bit more. They'll obviously get you a few more views. But yeah, what I would say is that you shouldn't do a video just for the sake of doing a video. Eli from Eli the Computer Guy does his failed normal YouTube channel, and he pumps out an amazing 5 videos a week at the minute, which is absolutely amazing. He does an hour every day in his Let's Live videos, and that is some serious stuff. You know, if that's what your plan is, if that's what you're going to do for your YouTube channel, you need to do a serious list. you know, you need to really plan out your days on what you're going to do for your content creation. I don't know, maybe Eli would like to steal these 7 bits of inspiration. Yeah, you can do that. I don't mind. But yeah, he always has something to say, and he speaks for an hour every day. That's incredible. I wouldn't like to do that. Well, I would like to make the amount of money that he makes from his YouTube videos, but yeah, that is some serious amount of talking that he does. There's something that that I watched on a Frank video the other day, and the way that he likes to set out his media, and his 3 things were specificity. I'm not even going to be able to say the word specificity. So where you create a specific, you look at something very specific. I'm not even going to attempt to say the word again. I can't say it. I'm going to just trip up over it and make myself look stupid. And so, yeah, you sort of concentrate on this very specific thing. So, you know, how something kind of made you feel. And then he also talks about scale as well. So, you know, if you're talking about a story, you know, or you're making up a story, you know, what would happen if instead of say, for instance, I'm just thinking of things on the top of my head here, but maybe if you put that story into this tiny little cube, this tiny little shop, for instance, instead of, or if you put it into this massive Americans, you'd call it a mall or a shopping center. Oh, how does scale affect your story? Affect the content that you want to get across to people? With oh god, I can't say. With this specific thing that you talk about is, you know, if you're talking about a scenario, talk about how it made you feel. Think about all the feelings that you felt, and pick out one of the ones that isn't obvious. So, or one of the things that you see that isn't quite obvious. So he says that if you walk into a Starbucks and you get a coffee, you know, the obvious thing is the green color of the Starbucks logo. The way that you know, think about the way that you feel when you're lined up in this line of almost like a heroin addiction, coffee addicts anonymous line of people. You know, concentrate on the sort of feelings that aren't obvious. You know, the things that you know, to someone going into a coffee store, that they're not the obvious things that you, when you're on autopilot, you see, the obvious things that you feel when you're on autopilot. Just those little nooks, and explore the nooks and crannies of what you're thinking about when you walk into that store. But we're probably getting a bit off topic here. This was supposed to be about inspiration, and yeah, try and throw a surprise in there as well. So, you know, maybe, you know, if you're relating a story, there's got to be something, a surprise in there that just makes the viewer stop and say, "Oh, what the hell happened there?" If you're just relaying a story and nothing happens, nothing surprising happens, then bang, you know, that it keeps the viewer's attention. Maybe what I've noticed in a lot of videos, there's a Frank videos that he does. He will cut the camera to a different angle, so he'll zoom up straight on the face or stuff like that to get a point across, so that it's not just a linear thing. There's just loads of movement from the camera angles. I I can't be bothered to edit these videos down to do crazy stuff like that. But yeah. And we were talking, when I was first talking, what I was going to talk about as well was motivation. So as I say, this week, I just seem to have lacked the motivation to really think about doing a YouTube video, and the lack of motivation and the inspiration to do a YouTube video, you know, they seem to kind of merge into sort of one thing, where you're lacking inspiration, and you know that demoralizes you. You're not motivated to create content because you seem to have this lack of inspiration. And so I don't know, maybe if that's been something because that I've had a lot on my plate this week, maybe that I've lacked the motivation to do the videos, or if it's been a lack of inspiration. You know, I have video ideas in this little in this little diary sketchbook that I keep around with me. So there are ideas in here for videos. I just didn't feel motivated to get that going. And something that Eli said in one of his failed normal videos is that sometimes you just have to bite the bullet, even if you feel like crap on the day. You have to still buckle down, just go with the flow, make the video, even if you don't feel like it. And he said that one of his videos that he did, you know, he was feeling hungover on the day. It was raining, it was cold, he had to go to a place to do his videos. And he said, you know, he could have quite easily just turned around that day and said, screw it, I'm not going to do the video. And that one video that he did on that day where he felt like crap and he didn't want to do it, he'd rather have done it, but he ended up doing it anyway. He slogged on, he grinded, he did the grind, and that was one of his most popular videos. So, you know, it just goes to show you, even if you don't feel like doing it, you should make the effort, you should put the grind in, put the effort in, and try and do it anyway. You know what, I try and do that. Sometimes it's hard. There is a certain amount of work and effort required to do these videos that if you haven't tried doing YouTube before, you know, if you haven't tried it before, you won't necessarily get what I mean. But it does, you know, you think, maybe if you haven't done it before, you think, yeah, just turn on the video camera, talk about a bunch of stuff that's happened during the day, turn it off, upload it, that's you done. It's not necessarily that easy. God knows how Eli does it on his failed normal thing for an hour a day. Wow, I don't know how he does it, but yeah, this idea of inspiration and motivation, it kind of comes from the same place, and if you don't have one, you kind of don't have the other, but you still need to plod on and do and look at doing the videos, even if you don't particularly feel like it. Like Eli says, you know, you need to keep the grind going. But that's not to say that you shouldn't do them for the sake of doing it either. So if you really are not talking about something, maybe you need to look at something else to talk about for that day. Don't just do it for the sake of doing it. You should be saying something in your YouTube video. You know, there should be a purpose to it, even if it is recording your cat, so someone says or that your cat does something stupid. So yeah, I think that is all I wanted to say for today on YouTube channel inspiration, and hopefully these those tips that I've given you from Jonathan J have been useful to you, and just gives you a bit of inspiration for your next YouTube video, if you are a YouTube content creator, maybe. And yeah, maybe some of those things will resonate with you about the motivation for doing YouTube videos. You know, and sometimes how you can get stuck in this almost like a depression where you lack the inspiration and you lack the motivation to do the videos. So keep on grinding. If you like what I've been talking about today, please subscribe. I'm doing about 3 videos a week at the minute on different topics. It might be fixing a laptop one day. It might be stuff about YouTube content creation the next. But I'm trying to do 3 videos a week at least, minimum. And hopefully you guys can get something out of this if you subscribe. If you like what I've said, feel a resonance to it, like my video. It's that easy. Or if you don't like what I've said, if you thought I'm a rambling idiot, click the dislike button. I don't really care. It's all any news is good news, as they say. So yeah, please or share this video as well with your friends, with your other YouTube content creators that you know. Give them a few ideas on what to do. And that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Matt from Excel Pro PC. Thank you.